Welcome back to Wisdom Inspired Living, a Wisdom of the Family Soul series, exploring how our relationship with life is shaped through belonging, inheritance, and the deeper systemic patterns that live within us. In our first episode, we explored why life sometimes feels so hard. And today we go deeper into something many people experience every day without fully recognizing: resistance. Not only resistance to circumstances, but resistance to life itself. I'm positive even you may have had that feeling at some time or another. Sometimes this resistance appears as anxiety, sometimes as exhaustion, sometimes as emotional tension, overthinking, frustration, control, or the constant feeling of needing to hold everything together. And often, beneath all of this, there is a hidden happening internally. A fight with reality, a fight with uncertainty, a fight with pain, a fight with what has already happened. From a systemic perspective, resistance is rarely random. Very often, it is protective. And today we will begin exploring why. Most people think resistance is simply negativity or stubbornness. But resistance is usually much more intelligent than that. Resistance often begins as protection. When something painful, overwhelming, frightening, or emotionally unsafe happens, the nervous systems naturally contracts. The body tightens. Emotionally, we brace ourselves. Mentally, we try to regain control. This is a very human response. The problem is that many people never fully come out of that protective state. The nervous system remains organized around defense, and over time, resistance becomes normal. Not because someone wants to suffer, but because part of them no longer feels safe with life. From the perspective of the wisdom of the family soul, resistance can also become inherited. Sometimes entire family systems carry unresolved fear, grief, instability, or survival trauma. In these systems, life may unconsciously be experienced as unsafe, unpredictable, emotionally dangerous, unstable, or something to endure rather than live. Children absorb this long before they understand it intellectually. And the family soul teaches through emotional atmosphere, not through words. So a person may grow up constantly preparing for something to go wrong without even knowing why. Resistance is not always dramatic. In fact, most resistance looks very ordinary. It may appear as overthinking every decision, difficulty relaxing, constantly rushing, emotional irritability, perfectionism, needing control, fear of uncertainty, chronic stress, difficulty in receiving support, struggling to trust relationships, feeling guilty when resting, and never feeling fully safe. Sometimes people are not exhausted because life is objectively impossible. Sometimes they are exhausted because internally they are fighting life all day long. This should not be happening. I need to fix this immediately. I cannot slow down. I cannot let go. I have to stay alert. And over time, this creates enormous strain on the body and the nervous system. The agreement to life, wisdom, material speaks about how resistance and disconnection can contribute to chronic stress, emotional turmoil, anxiety, isolation, and physical tension. From a systemic perspective, resistance often carries loyalty, and this is important. Sometimes relaxing feels unsafe because nobody in the family system was allowed to relax. Sometimes joy feels dangerous because previous generations experienced sudden loss. And sometimes receiving becomes difficult because survival required constant self-protection. The body may still be living according to an older systemic reality, even when life has changed. One of the most powerful things we begin noticing in systemic work is how clearly the body reflects on our relationship with life. The body often carries the unspoken no. No pain, no uncertainty, no to grief, no to vulnerability, no to reality as it is. And this no often appears physically. You may notice tightness in the chest, pressure in the stomach, jaw tension, neck and shoulder pain, restlessness, fatigue, difficulty breathing deeply, or the feeling of always being emotionally on guard. The wisdom material around agreement of life speaks specifically about how resistance may manifest through chest heaviness, digestive discomfort, headaches, and tension held in the shoulders and neck. The body is not working against us. The body is communicating. And often the body is saying, I do not yet trust life enough to soften. This is why healing cannot happen only through positive thinking. The nervous system needs a different experience. The body needs permission to feel safe again. And sometimes that begins with awareness instead. Not trying to fix ourselves immediately. Simply noticing, I have been fighting. Agreement to love is not passive resignation. It is not pretending painful things are acceptable. And it is not abandoning responsibility. Agreement means something much deeper. It means ending the internal war with reality. It means acknowledging ourselves to acknowledge this is what is here. Strangely, when we stop resisting reality, energy begins returning. Because resistance consumes enormous emotional and physical energy. The nervous system no longer has to remain in constant defense. The body begins softening. Breathing changes, awareness opens, presence returns. And from the wisdom of the family soul perspective, agreement restores relationship. And relationship changes experience. When we stop fighting life, we can finally begin participating in life. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but more honestly, more consciously, more gently. This is not about becoming passive. It is about becoming available to life again. And often the moment we stop fighting reality is the moment movement becomes possible. I want to invite you now into a small moment of awareness. Just pause for a moment. Notice your breathing. Notice your shoulders. Notice your jaw. Notice your chest. And gently ask yourself, where in my life am I still fighting what already is? And then perhaps ask, what am I afraid might happen if I stop fighting? I'll repeat that. What am I afraid might happen if I stop fighting? There is no need to force an answer. Simply noticing begins creating space, and sometimes that space is where healing begins. Thank you for being here with me today. And in our next episode, we will explore how the body carries the unspoken experiences of families and why emotional pain, stress, and unresolved systemic dynamics so often become embodied. Until then, live gently with yourself. Resistance is not weakness. Very often, it began as protection. And perhaps, slowly, awareness can begin creating enough safety for something inside you to see. May this awareness continue unfolding gently within you as you deepen your own relationship with the wisdom of the families. And may I at this point ask you to please subscribe, share, like, ring the bell. I am positive that there is somebody who will appreciate if you share this wisdom with them. Take care, and I will see you in the next episode.